Hello and welcome to Come and Reason Australia. I am pre-recording this as we will again be away. So it is now like time travel. I'm pre-filming this to talk a few things over that I wanted to talk about. And it is now Sabbath for you. So good morning, happy Sabbath to you all. Hope you are well. I have had many weeks and months, I would say, of struggle in my personal relationship with God. Finding the right words for anything at the moment has been very difficult. I've had a beautiful emotional conversation with Simon this morning, leading right up to now, where I'm currently in my car waiting to pick up children from school. And I was kind of inspired to talk, or plan to start talking now, because I've got the windows down and it is the first beautiful sunshiny day we've had in weeks, months, I don't know, weeks. And I'm hearing birds chirping outside, and in that stillness and calm, I thought, why not make a start? Each week we go through and try and discover something new to talk about or share in the Come and Reason love stream. Me personally, I've been going through things for a few weeks, few months. I've had some health concerns as well, but mostly my main concern has been my relationship with God. I went from being very stable in that, feeling secure in that, in the way I was having a relationship with God, to then looking at everyone else's relationship with God that I knew in my life, in my circles, and hearing other people's testimonies and things, and really beginning to question even more my place and seeing how far away I was to feeling secure. I guess I kind of felt lost, I think, because of that comparison, seeing, say Simon and his confidence in this God and having all the experience that he has had, those three threads of evidence with the Bible, knowing the gospel, having that in his life for so long. I'm 45 and this is all new to me, so new that I'm feeling really quite inadequate. And I don't think I really acknowledged that, how inadequate I was feeling. So over the last weeks, it had made me very stressed, and those secure foundations that I had been building for myself got shaken. And then after discussion today, really coming to some understanding that my relationship doesn't have to be the same as anybody else's. My walk with God as an individual is very individual compared to Simon or our children or our friends or any of you. And so I really wanted to talk about that walk and that experience, feeling very turbulent and place where I had so much turmoil, where it was straining our relationship because I felt like I couldn't articulate, couldn't ask questions, and a lot of the time that would come up and have negative impact in our conversations, where I would be asking something and I would be frustrated because I didn't know how to ask it, and I knew and I could see that how I could ask something about what I'd read or what I'd listened to wasn't being received in the way that I was trying to ask it. And that can be really super challenging, because while we're trying to convey something. We know what we mean in our heads, in our minds, in our hearts, but conveying that to somebody else, just to have that community, not looking for answers from somebody else, but to actually have a conversation where you feel like you're valid part of the conversation, where you may know something or not know something, or I don't know. I felt lost. I felt so lost, and the more I tried to unpack that, the more my emotional response of inadequacy kind of got in the way. And when I'm writing my posts, I'm like, I've learned to cut that down, because I've been told lots of times that I don't know how to summarize or make it short and sweet. So now I'm kind of doing the opposite, to the point where I think I feel sometimes frustrated that I'm doing it too much, that I'm like, well, this is all just very face value. These are some really beautiful, helpful, short but sweet posts, but they're not me, they're not my walk. So now I'm trying to find the balance in between, but I can articulate really well when I'm writing. Sometimes I'm really working on being led. I ask the Spirit to lead me, find my words, to encourage me what to put in, what to leave out. And sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. But the point being that there's truth in it, and those ones have been the ones that have connected with you more, or others more. And so I want to get back to that, but also in that I felt that my growth in my relationship with God has been validated, been stronger, because I feel like God can use me in the way that works for me. God can have a relationship with me as individual as I am, as he would have with you, and how you are. And so what your husband or your friend or someone else might believe and feel and see, and what their walk might be, may be completely different to what your walk is. And I come to a place where I realize that that's actually okay. And the amount of grief it was giving me was very challenging. And I can now, like today, begin to work through that and acknowledge that, that's actually healthy, to have different perspectives, different walk, where God has created us all individually. He will be working with us individually. And I know I've written that before, and I've kind of understood it on some level, and I don't know how I got to the point where I felt so lost, so far away from that again. But I am so grateful that I have you all witnessing your stories, and that I have things to read and things to listen to, and guidances. Like, there are teachers along the way, the most important one being the life of Jesus, and when he was here, what his walk looked like, so we could witness that and learn from that, to shape and model ourselves and our hearts as close to that as possible. It also makes us easier to witness in ourselves the things that aren't right, so we can work on them. And I think part of the human condition is to feel like failure if you haven't got that stuff worked out. I had this beautiful beginning so late in life, but my relationship was so open with God. And then once I started putting the human factor in there with other people and what they were doing and where they were at, I started to fear more that I was so not there, that I was like so far beyond good enough for God. Again, that I was just like, oh wow, how did I get here again? Like, how did that happen? Because I was so confident that God could love me after everything I thought he couldn't love me for. And then we're back in a place where I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm definitely not, no, I'm not a good little student. I'm not a good little, child of God. I don't know that. Someone mentions chapter and I'm like, nope, don't know that one. How bad of me. And that part kind of tore down a little bit of that. I think that confidence I had in God to work with me, and I missed the point where God was needing to work inside me, and I'm getting back there, and that's very comforting. I think a relationship with God should be personal, should be emotional. You should feel ways about it, and if you don't, then, like me, if you're feeling, not much about any of it, then if you're at that point, then you need to keep looking. You need to keep looking for ways that you can connect. It is not about comparison. It is not about who thinks this and who thinks that and what the differences are. It is solely about what is your heart motive. My motive is to get right with God. It is really to be made right by God. And if I can keep chasing that, if I can keep working towards that, I begin to understand that that's what God wants of me. God wants me to offer that to Him. Only He can fix. Only He can work with me. If I'm closing myself off to God and His plan for me or His design for me, and falling into that trap where I'm focusing on where I'm not good enough or how I'm not working, or trying to hide myself from God, then He won't be able to reach me. He won't be able to reach any of us if we're holding ourselves back from Him. And even if it is because we are comparing ourselves to others or trying to take the same walk as others, it can be very easy to fall into that trap where we're all thinking the same and doing the same and really missing our shot at giving Him permission to work freely upon us. And I know my journey will never be the same as anybody else's exactly. I will have similarities, which are such a blessing that kind of creates community. But then even with people who have had a completely different walk, I can still find some small treasures that we have in common that connect us. And it's kind of like being on a lifeboat and you're out in a big massive ocean and you don't see any other people in lifeboats, but off in the distance someone will come and you'll be like, oh, is that another person? There's another person floating in this big ocean with me. And eventually the tide of knowledge of your path, whatever it is, that tide brings you together and you can link hands out in that big ocean. And then you'll see another person and then you'll link hands with them, and then every single person on your walk becomes part of your walk, and all the experiences of others become part of your walk in things that you can learn and you can teach. I'm finding that where I thought I may have no value to be able to teach or share, that I do, and that I can, and that if I can't, it's okay, and that if I offer it to God to use me in any way, in any measure, that He will also find a way for me to give someone my hand while they're in their life raft, to connect with them. And that when those moments come and I'm feeling very alone in my raft and I'm not seeing hands that I can reach for, even if I see them and I ask for help and those people can't be there, then God is there, and I can rest that He will still carry me through, take me to a place where I can feel some connection to Him, even if it's not through others. Though community is another part of His design, He really wants that community with us. And I feel so honoured and privileged to be able to have Him meet me where I am at, and to not feel secure where I'm at. It is a blessing to know that I'm still looking for help. I'm still looking to be made right. And if I ever stop looking to be made right, I'll know that I'm in the wrong direction, that I feel secure about something that I shouldn't feel secure about. I should feel secure only in knowing that God is the only one can help me, and that He's the answer, He's the support, He's the lifeline, and that I will never not need Him. Never. So I think I hope that helps. We've got people walking around now, kids are coming out, so I will probably have to call it short, or I'll add another video and link them together. But yeah, I hope in our relationship on our page that I can be a blessing to you, that you do not feel afraid to reach out, because I don't have it all together. I'm probably the least who has it together. But that in me sharing where I'm at and who I am, that you can also feel some connection and security in where you're at and where you're feeling. And don't be afraid to not follow the crowd, to stand alone, to float on that ocean alone. Just know that God's got you, and God will find a way, and God will help you find your words even when you can't find your words.